you, Anne, for doing that. So that's part of the game, man. We have to be very, we have to understand, all of us as a group have to understand that we all have, you know, other jobs other than this group. So that's no problem. I know you have a huge responsibility with your company. So,
I did want to
um,
start by saying congratulations to Steve and NASA.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I can't tell
I
you
agreed.
how
Uh,
excited and how amazing it was to watch that launch,
Yeah.
watch the people that were at that launch engaging, cheering, seeing the looks on their faces. It was one of the best things I've seen in a long time. And
I've been taught.
a lot of people in your organization and your partners worked very hard to get there. So I can't thank you enough for giving us that gift. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
well, thanks. Well, my contribution was pretty small, but I am proud to have contributed even at least a little bit, and I'm just so proud of NASA in general.
Yeah.
And it's exciting to see the public like reaction to just like everybody is so excited about it, which is
Oh,
fantastic.
it is amazing, and even walking through the halls here in academia, and not only in the industry but in academia, it's the excitement is just amazing. It's because it's real. It's we're
Yeah.
back in this. We're back in this type of technology and exploration and search of human exploration is just fascinating. Steve, before we get on, I had a great talk with Ireland Brown with MIT yesterday.
Oh,
Thank you
great.
so much. And the reason I wanted to mention that is twofold. Her work at MIT, specifically in academia, it fits in. Your intuition was smack on. It fits perfectly with what we're doing. So she's going to be in the core group and a contributing writer. Uh, and we'll talk about next week because she's going to present what she presented at ISEC, and we'll talk about how it fits perfectly. And so, thank you. But the
Excellent.
other side note, what made me think of her is she was physically at the launch,
Mm.
and she said it was just amazing. So,
I really wanted to go. A lot of my friends went. I did not have the opportunity, but I will be at the future launches.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's one of those. That's one of those things you don't want to get front row seats to, maybe. Maybe, the back of the stadium's better on this one.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'm just kidding around. All right.
yeah.
Well, let's get going. Patrick, do you mind if I just kind of walk through this real quick and then I'll tag your ed and pass the baton over to you? You with us, Patrick?
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry.
Okay, sounds good. And maybe when we talk about the NDA, we just follow this through. So first off, right off is I was so pleased to see when we decided, Patrick and myself and a few other folks on the team decided it's time to have a core group, but not just a three or four individual core group, but a group that can help us maneuver through these administrative decisions. I don't want to say administrative because uh, this is all volunteer time and non-funded. Um, but I was happy to see so many people that want to get involved with the core team. So that's beautiful. So I'm looking at the time. We literally have 22 minutes. We're going to stop at exactly 1:30. So I think the main things, I can go through the paper, but the main things are purpose of the core group. And I think we have a brief discussion, and maybe Patrick, you start that discussion. We'll talk very briefly about the NDA that we put together. And it's not to make a decision on the NDA, but it's just discuss the intent of the NDA, and then we'll forward a draft NDA for comment. We'll get to that. I want to talk about then the consortium. I had a very good discussion with Mary Jo here, who's works out with the dean's office, and they have some ideas about maybe how to expand what we're doing into a really interesting direction. And then we'll talk about the papers, and then peer review, and then we'll talk about next meeting. So let's talk about, maybe start the discussion, and we got to look at the time, but I think the peer writing paper will take the least amount of time. We'll just kind of go through that. I think the NDA may take time. Peer review will take a little bit of time, but the purpose of the core group will be probably the biggest dedication of time. And if I could suggest, maybe we dedicate around 10 minutes to this discussion. But to kick off that discussion, sorry to put you on the spot, Patrick, but you are perfect person to be put on the spot, because you always say the right things at the right time, no matter what. So how do we, let's talk about our vision of, when I say everyone on this call, if you're in the core group, you have an idea, and we need to get this group kind of organized. Then we'll talk about, what the main meeting is on a monthly basis compared to this one. These are just going to be 30-minute quick check-ins, but it's going to take us a little time to get this all organized. So I'm done talking. Patrick, tag, you're it.
Audio, right? So tag, I'm it. So I was just opening up the document. So I have worked from the document that we went over in our last meeting in terms of the plan that we had originally established, and we've updated the dates, of course, for that. But just to go over that, from a core group perspective, what we're looking for is this team to really kind of guide the overall process, be able to manage it in terms of the communication amongst the different partners, etc. We need feedback from you. Yes, we've got ideas for how we get to the end game in terms of this, but some of those ideas may not be great. So one of the things I would like to do for the core group is one of the first activities is I've just gone through the updated presentation, Paul, and I would like the group to really look at the plan that we have in terms of the steps and the activities and the input we want, and make sure you're comfortable that that will get us there. Just because we came up with it, what I haven't had is a group like this of peers that would really look at that and say, you're absolutely crazy. That's not going to work. And, Steve, just like we asked you for input on the NDA and that kind of thing, we need to make sure that we are falling in line with the institutions that we're working with. We respect those institutions and their governance and their guidelines and what they have to live by in terms of rules of the road. We're here to serve as industry liaisons, and if we are subject matter experts in anything, that's to be debated. But we do want to serve, and we don't want to cross any bounds. So this group made up of the people it is for a purpose. All of you volunteered for it. But my first order of business is I'm going to send that out after the call today. I'm working on a few more updates to it. And I just want to get you guys to give us feedback on the process we laid out, that we went over, the deadlines, the dates, and does it make sense? That's the first order of business.
Okay, and if I could real quick, Patrick, Anne has agreed to help continue helping. She's moving on, by the way, as an estimator. Congratulations to Turner Construction. She starts pretty soon. She's agreed to also continue being administrative, or not administrative, but help coordinate the group, which she's done a fabulous job on. And she'll just, if you could just give that to her, and she'll send that out. That'd be great. To the large or to the
Awesome.
just the core team.
I
Yeah.
will do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's really what we need. But I mean, the core team is going to be what it is. We're going to govern the process, the project. We're going to work together to keep the various stakeholders engaged and informed. Where we need to pivot, we're going to make decisions to pivot. But it's our objective to manage this, be accountable to one another and accountable to the process and the institutions that we're serving with this ultimate output. And that's as simple as I can put it. I mean, I could make up a bunch of jargon and bullshit all day long, but that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think for perspective, we know that the first maybe one or two is just creating purpose of what our governance is as far as the core group. And then the next is the core group I can see will need very quickly ideas on how we're tying in papers and things of that nature. More how the study is helps communicate this to the greater the greater audience, the industry. So it may seem a little administratively weighted at the beginning, but then after that, it will switch to the other ones or to the structures
The
and
one
what have you.
question too today that I wanted to bring up to the group is there's a lot going on in terms of, especially with Artemis and the mission there. There's a lot of people doing a lot of discussion and a lot of work around what happens in terms of the next steps, right? This is a test of our capabilities and what we can do. We're doing some tests on the astronauts are with the vehicle that they have, spacecraft, whatever we call it. And then there are defined dates and deadlines and steps that NASA has, and they're published, Steve, for how this works. Okay, so I think we need to make sure too. The core group, I would ask all of us, and maybe Ann, if we can centralize this, if we haven't already, any updated information on that. We probably need to all do our own little research and make sure we're aware of all the things that have been actually committed to and what's happening behind the scenes so that we're all on the same page of the reality of this situation. And it is real. What's crazy is even when we thought it was real, right? But it's getting more and more real. And with this launch, it becomes even more imperative that we do this and we do it right. Because our ability from an estimating standpoint and the accuracy of those estimates and how they're put together in a lunar environment is going to become an important input and part of the process of delivering on those promises. So for us as a group, I think that's one of the other steps I would ask this group to do. We'll try to pull the information together. And if you have information that you think is relevant, I would say we send it to Ann, unless that's something different, Paul, so that we can gather that into our database and have.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. And then Ann, maybe you can send out we can after this meeting, we can do maybe a to-do list. And our to-do list, unless you commit specifically to a date or whatever, if we ask this type of thing, don't think that you're committed to do it, but because again, we all have responsibilities. But anyway, if you could put that down, and that'd be great for a follow-up. And then if you could, were you done on that side, Patrick? Or
yeah, I mean
okay.
So what I went over was kind of what I see as the purpose of the core group in the only way I know how, just straight up, here it is. Then the two things I think we need to do in the near term. One is I will send out the process we had gone over in the last call to everybody, and I'm going to give you a date of when I'd like your feedback. I'll collate that feedback and then make any revisions that we think we need to that document. That's going to be our guiding document, our process, and effectively our milestone schedule and the dates we need to hit as a team. In this core group, we need to hold each other accountable for that. And then two, the second activity that I'll ask the core group is do your own research. Start to look at the things around this whole mission and what NASA themselves is planning. Make sure you're familiar with it. Let's all get educated on it. And then we have this group to ask questions, to ask clarifications, share information that we find in one central database, and start to get smart and level set so that we all have the same level of information as a baseline before we start our work on finalizing the paper. I
Yeah.
hope that makes sense.
No, that's great. That's makes a lot of sense. And can you bring the agenda back, please? All right. So let's just that's perfect, Patrick. I'm looking, we have 11 minutes, so perfect. The next thing, so let's do this. As far as looking at and we reviewed it last week, just an overview. But we'll send out uh, the the plan that Richard is talking about, the timeline plan that we call it, the implementation plan. If you could review that and just have any comments, like sound looks good, or is this realistic, what have you, maybe by next Friday, would be great. If we can actually get it before Friday, so we can kind of collate, have kind of an understanding of what you're thinking. Maybe let's say by Thursday, and again, I want to emphasize, don't feel too guilty if you can't spend a lot of time on it, but I really would like, want to derail so the piece of info. Steve,
I
can
can
you?
say it out loud. I just didn't want to derail the discussion, so I put it in the chat.
No, what? Go ahead and say it.
Oh, okay. The other piece, trying to work model-based engineering standards processes for both lunar and terrestrial, trying to get a standard. Running into issues that right now there really are no standard. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of words, and not a lot of hard. But I think one assumption we probably can make is that there will be a robust model-based engineering set of standards when we go to Lunar Construct. And what I'm seeing and the capability of the models, I think it is absolutely going to just disruptively transform the way that cost estimations are done, not just for the moon, but on Earth as well.
Yeah.
And that should translate back and forth. If you solve the problem on Earth, it won't solve the problem on the moon because there's a lot of other unknowns. But
yeah, you're very intuitive, Steve, very intuitive. And we've had a lot of discussions even this morning within academia about that very thing. You're very intuitive. And there's a section of using AI and engineering models and production models and how that integrates. And it's something we have to definitely dive into. So very intuitive, absolutely. And I would let's include that in the implementation plan. Comments like that would be great. But it also goes to something else. It speaks to the enormity of the problem we need to solve, and we can't solve that in one paper. And to remind everyone, originally we were given the challenge of only 10 pages. That's unrealistic. We're at 25 now, and I know we have to cut it down, but the realization is that this is extremely complex. There are many different systems that have to tie together in an equal manner. In other words, just to take one without examining cause and effect of other systems can make the system fail. So what we've had internal conversations about this with this group is that we're leaning towards making this the first paper and then doing periodicals after that, about every 3 months, releasing, other papers that contributors in this group will write based on their expertise and how it ties together. So so far that is a real heavy discussion, and I'm, an advocate to that way of approach as well. And those are some of the things that we'll have to discuss as board group, looking at the time. So the other thought that came out of UC Davis this morning was creating perhaps a consortium of not just UC Davis, but other academics and uh, uh, so so some sort of a consortium where perhaps there's PhDs or masters that help also through this process, and also how it relates back into terrestrial construction as well. So I just wanted to put that out there, not for discussion yet, but maybe next week we can save some time to think about what a consortium look like, or how would we structure periodicals? How would this group be structured? The next is this is the list of authors on our current piece. Dr. Jay Lund, thank you very much. He peer-reviewed mine, bled all over it. It was quite a while ago, and but it's really real. He's written a lot of papers, and he's really in tune with the audience who's reading it and how you're conveying your idea. He's very, very good at it, and he's agreed to help us do peer reviewing, and probably not all of it, but I would propose that Jay maybe not manages, but gives advice to the peer reviewers, so we keep peer reviewing consistent, and maybe he can help align how we approach peer review so it's not all over the place. Okay, so currently, I've had mine. It's going to be smaller and changed a little bit. Dr. Vishish is done on his. It needs to be peer reviewed. Brad Hyatt is done on his. Needs to be peer reviewed. No one's holding anything up, so if you haven't started yet, don't worry about it. But Steve, Mark, John Lund was gonna. I'm sorry, that's Jay Lund, not John Lund. Anne. That's his.
But you know what, Jay? There's always a chance for you to be John.
So sorry. I did it so last minute. I talk to John all the time and
yeah, I know exactly.
Wrote that out. I'm so sorry. The J's got me.
I talk to John all the time too. I sent him a text saying, "Looks like we've been melded."
Yeah, I know. Because John Lund is a student here, a senior in engineering, and he's very active. So sometimes that happens. So
I like that we have the Lund square.
Yeah, that's right. That's perfect.
I'm happy with that.
Are you guys in any way related? The John Lund, Jay Lund?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. And Jennifer Taylor with HDR has written a good article on cycle jumps, which is relevant. She's going to expand that, though. We still need to talk about that. Fred Collison, you wrote a great article, and we need to get that into peer review and any adjustments. Rivka wrote a great piece on excavation and estimating on the criteria that we need to know about model or production analysis. And then Ireland Brown with MIT has agreed to not only join the team, but contribute, because she's doing really good work on certain types of models that Steve Furr saw her do a presentation with Lysic, and he knew right away that would be a good synergy, and he was right. So this is in the interest of time. Let's talk. We have a couple things that we need to go over, which is NDA. We're going to send that out. Just look at it, and it will say core group review. We're not expecting anyone to sign it right now, but next week, review it. It's very short. What's your opinion on it? Is there any suggested alternates or whatever? It's not attorneys don't have to pore over it. It's a very basic document. Review the implementation plan. And then think about the consortium or how long-term what this group will be doing if we are doing periodicals after the first paper. And then also we'll talk more about how we structure peer review, which is going to be fairly important. The next thing, we have 1 minute late. We're syncing up with our publication agreements, a publication agreement, meaning publishers that have agreed to publish our work. And one of the main ones is the American Society of Professional Estimators, which I think is a really good one. Seems how this is right down that alley. And we want to make sure that our commitment that's on the implementation plan is around the same time that we're committing for these publications, and the publication list will grow. I'm getting reminded of that literally almost every week. So, and this core group will decide which publications we go out to. So, it's 2:00 on the hour. Is there any questions that anyone has? We only have 30 seconds left. You're on mute, Fred.
Sorry, I have one really important question. I was
Good.
wondering if Jay Lund is a stunt double for Larry David. Just a
Oh,
question. Sorry.
That's
I
funny.
couldn't resist.
I'm not as funny.
we picked on the Lund. We picked on the Lund family far too much. Next time you can pick on me.
That's beautiful. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Robert, it's good to see you on the core group. Your work with the American Society of Professional Estimators has been outstanding, and it's nationally known, and thank you for being part of this group. So with that, let's adjourn. And I'm just thank you from a fellow colleague to another, and I look forward to seeing you next week. The last Friday of every month will be an expanded meeting, and on that meeting will be guests, whoever wants to be part of it. Ireland Brown with MIT will do her presentation on her work, and Rivka will do a presentation on her paper that's submitted for this, and it's outstanding work. So, and then we'll talk about other fun stuff. All right. Congratulations, Ann Luke, for your you're moving to Turner as an estimator. Congratulations at Chic. Everyone knows these students because they were part of this consortium as students. At Chic, you're working for McCarthy Builders now out of the LA office. And, these students are moving on to really amazing things. So we're very proud of you. And I don't have to call you a student anymore. I can call you colleague. So with that, we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good evening.